I go, you will carry me. I just hope you know my depth, even though it makes no sense. Sometimes I'm broken. Too much of
Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Also welcome if you are new. Today we are doing another helping hand series video, and I'm really was excited about this one because this kitchen reminded me very much of the first kitchen in Bobby and my very first house. And I know one of the hardest things about seeing cleaning, decluttering, organizing videos online is often you're seeing people that it's not their first home. So the houses are a little, or the kitchens or houses are a little bit bigger. And the bigger the space, the easier it is to organize. So today we are going to clean, declutter, organize, see how much I could get done. I was here for about 5 hours this day, and we were able to get rid of 4 trash bags full of donations. They're not going in the trash, they're going to donations, but that's what I put it in to get it to donations. And a full bin of glassware, because obviously I didn't want to put glass into a bin. And then obviously cleaning and organizing it to the best of our ability. But I think this will be a good representation of what you can do if maybe you have a small kitchen like this.
Sometimes I'm delighted, don't wanna pick a fight with everything seems so good. I guess I can't help myself. Would you help me if I'm in the dark? I'm calling up 'cause I'm right under the stars. Would you run on me leaving this mark?
So when it comes to food storage, this pantry is definitely very tiny to be able to organize. So we're not going to be able to do all the fancy organizing when it comes to this stuff, especially since if you are a typical family, you don't want to go shopping like every single day for food. So you want to have basic stuff on hand. So my goal was to clean this out and just try and section it off best as possible by baking or cooking oils, things like that. Try and keep it as organized as possible. But you're going to notice that certain things don't work. Maybe those layered can organizers aren't going to work because you need to use as much space as possible. Some organizing pieces are great because it helps you see more, but when you're working with a small space, you have to capitalize on the square footage as much as possible. Now, you're going to notice that a lot of this cabinet really just needed to be repainted, but I did try and clean it as best as possible. That way, especially being down here in Florida, helps with any type of bugs. It's also why I like using Pine Sol. Pine Sol naturally deters bugs. So just a little hint, if you live especially in a northern climate and deal with bugs, Pine Sol will be your best friend. But my other goal here, because they had a good amount of food on the counter because they just literally couldn't make it all fit in this area. And you're going to see I'm going to work on the upper cabinets. And I told her the smaller upper cabinets next to the pantry, I was hoping to get enough things decluttered that those would then be open for to have even more food storage.
Now choose, you know exactly how to look like this. Holding in a bag full of goods and needs, I need a night like this. Knowing it's a risk 'cause you're using it. You've got all your secrets. I can seem to move this thing. You're pulling me out and I'm right back on the sideline where you wanted me. I'm by the bar.
So I know often you guys don't see the homeowners helping, and that is totally personal preference, just so you guys know. Now, when it comes to decluttering, and what you don't see is on the other side of the camera, I did have them helping. So as I pulled stuff out, they could tell me keep, donate. And that a lot of times just makes things a lot easier. Like, I call it the death stare. And I do it even at my house, where you're wanting to get something done and you walk in the room and you just stare. Like, you don't know where to start. You don't know how to start. But just had someone there helping you to pull things out and you just say yes or no makes things a lot easier. So if you have a big project at your house and you're doing the death stare, I highly recommend asking for help. If it's a neighbor, friends, family, just someone to come over and give second eyes on a project will tremendously help. Even if it's just them pulling it out and you're saying yes or no, I promise once you get started with the help, being able to keep going after they leave is going to be so much harder. Half the time, the hardest part is just starting, and once you've started, that motivation just like piles on top of each other. So I'm curious, in your kitchen, what is the thing you have the most of? What do you have the hardest time decluttering or you constantly are bringing in? I have noticed in all the different kitchens that I have organized that for most people, it is glassware. Those unique water bottles and coffee mugs and that pretty glassware that half the time you don't fill with water, but you never know, you're going to have guests over, so you keep it on hand. I know I do that. Like, if I'm drinking water, I'm drinking it out of one of my plastic water bottles, but I have to have a glassware set because when people come over. So glassware, I have noticed, is always the hardest part, and this was definitely the case in this kitchen. So my overall goal was, as you saw, there was glasses in pretty much every upper cabinet. So my goal was to have them downsize it enough to minimally fit into this one cupboard. That way they could more easily organize everything else into the other cupboards. And like I said, I wanted to give them more food storage. Because the other thing is, when your counters get like crazy cluttered, it's so much harder to get motivated to do other things. So being able to put things into your cupboards and not be visually, for me, exhausting. Like when I have that visual clutter in the house, it's like just exhausting to even look at. Like, it gives you no motivation, nothing. So this way we could get as much of the stuff off the counter as possible. And they did really, really good at decluttering this. Now, also, decluttering is not a one and done situation. And I like to explain that when I'm at people's houses, that maybe in 3 months, do it again, because you've already taken a good chunk of it out. So it's going to be a lot easier next time. But also, you now have a better idea of, okay, I did declutter all this, but I've also noticed that I'm not using this, so now I can do that. A kitchen should probably be decluttered if you are pretty good with keeping up with your kitchen, at least once a year. But if you are going through the process of becoming more minimal and really trying to cut back on the clutter in your home, every 3 to 6 months is going to be best for you to really get it down, because you are going to, every time you do it, get rid of more and more. The first time will probably be the most you get rid of, but I promise every time you declutter, you'll get rid of a little bit more, and that mental stress of things in your life will slowly go away, and you will be absolutely amazed at how much more mental clarity you have, energy you have, when you let go of the things in your life. So the other big thing I can recommend if you are working in a small space, in a very cluttered space, and you're trying to declutter and organize and everything. Now, I did not have that this opportunity at this place, so I was working on clearing like one side of the counter so I could put stuff on it and working myself around the kitchen. But if you have an empty table that you can bring into the space, that way you can put everything into an empty table and not all the way around you. That'll also help with the anxiety of decluttering and everything. I do that even in my house, where I will take one of our 8-foot like yard sale tables and I will bring it inside if I'm doing the linen closet or something like that. If I'm in my bedroom, I use my bed. I take everything out and put it on my bed. That way I'm working with a clean slate space that'll help with anxiety of decluttering. It'll help with making it easier to deep clean, because you'll notice it's kind of hard to get around and deep clean because I have things all around me. So if you have the ability to bring in even just like a card table or maybe your dining room table, something where you can put everything on a clean, empty space, it'll make your process a lot easier for you.
Down, 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 down. Yeah. And I thought, it's time I'm letting you go. This time I know it for sure. Just thought I should let you know. Yeah. No, it's no more, no. I got so high on a low. That's when I love you the most. Now I thought I should let you know. Yeah. No, it's no more. We don't know. No, it's no more. We don't know. No, it's no more. We don't know. No, it's no more. No.
So, how is everyone's new year going so far? We have definitely already like boots to the ground, busy with everything. As you guys know, we got the new windows in. Well, most of the new windows in the new house. We still have the front bay window that we are having issues with, but hopefully get those in not too long. Honestly, the only like frustrating part about that front window not being in and possibly not going in for a good couple of weeks is all the stickers on the windows have to stay on the windows until the inspector comes out, and the inspector can't come out till all the windows are done. So that's a little bit of a bummer because I have these giant stickers on my window that I can't clean off. But very glad the windows are in. Our plan is to start in the dining room this week. So that's going to be a big project, but a project that I have wanted done so bad. I feel like that is one area that still looks very unfinished. So I'm excited to have that done. And yeah, just staying crazy. I did have people asking on Friday's video if I was going to show the new windows going in. And in Friday's video, I'm not showing them going in. However, you will get to see the new windows once they are in. I do like a pan of before and after. I only like showing stuff if I can ask the people if they want to be on camera or not. And the people who installed the windows didn't speak English, so I was not comfortable filming them putting any of them in.
Whatever happened, we came there first. Go a little wild, is your personal expression. Far over the line, tell me we ain't something special. Wrap me around your solar system, make me do whatever that you want me to do. You got me dancing in your storm, burning everything we know. Rising up as firefighters. You got me dancing in your storm, looking like a breeze, but really you're a forest fire.
I always enjoy cleaning out sinks. If it's my sink or someone else's sink, I feel like a sink can make the biggest difference in someone's kitchen. One, they can get absolutely filthy. You're cleaning dishes in them. If you have a garbage disposal, like you're running all the gunk off your plates down the garbage disposal. And they're also one of the easier things to clean if you have the right products. Here I'm just using the Power Paste. Now, I do think, and this is the hard part about cleaning other people's houses, that if I would have known more before coming out here, I would have brought something like the powdered Barkeeper's Friend to really scrub this out. That would have made a big difference. But this power paste worked really, really well. There's certain things that you're just not going to be able to deal with. This is definitely a much older sink. You can see some of the porcelain is actually like chipped off. That's those little black spots around the sink. But sinks to me are always one of those things that when they are clean, they make a huge, huge difference in your kitchen.
You got me dancing in your storm, burning everything we know, dressing up as firefighters. You got me dancing in your storm, looking like a breeze, but really you're a forest fire. Looking like a breeze, but really you're a forest fire. Looking like a breeze, but really you're.
Oh, and my biggest tip with cleaning your sink, if you're always feeling like, oh, it's just not as shiny as you see when other people clean it, is dry it out. Take a dry microfiber cloth, polish any of the chrome, dry out your sink. That makes all the difference in the world, is just giving it a quick like little buff with a dry, clean microfiber cloth. That's going to make the biggest difference.
What we have to do, but someone's gotta change. You got issues that makes you a fuss, but someone's gotta change. If we never ever met before, if I never opened up my door, yeah, 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 yeah. If we never ever got to start, if I never opened up my heart, yeah, 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 yeah. You're about to lose me.
So another thing that this couple was coming across, and you may as well, is this place they rent, they do not own. Now that makes a huge difference. Like, there are minor things you can do to a space if you're renting that are renter friendly, but you don't have all the freedom in the world to do whatever you want. So definitely something to keep in mind when you're working with your own space. Like, there are definitely things they could have done to make this area maybe work a little bit better, but that's a lot harder when you don't own it. So if they wanted to repaint the cabinets or put in a backsplash, because cleaning walls behind counters can be very difficult. That's one reason why backsplash is nice, is when you get a nice, like, high shine, high gloss tile, it's a lot easier to clean. But not everyone has that option. If it's because they own the space, financially doing it, skill set, all of those things, those that different people have to deal with. So learning to work in your space, I will say having a good degreaser will make all the difference in the world with keeping a kitchen clean and staying on top of it. Because the second you let something like really harden in, that's going to make getting it clean down the road a lot harder on you.
Why gotta be so hard? Sitting thinking in my car. I don't know what we should do. Do you? Do you? You're about to lose me. Just like that, just like that. You're about to lose.
This stove was definitely a throwback also. This is the same type of stove that Bobby and I had in our very first house. So the nice thing is I kind of knew how it like went together and worked and everything. Like, I used to own a very similar stove to this. So I just took all the grates out. I did wish I brought my stove cleaner, which I completely forgot. But those are like little things, like you're going to notice the inner metal pieces I don't get perfectly clean because I didn't have the right products to do it. But I like to let people know, hey, if you use this, let it sit, you can be able to pick it up. It's a good way to also teach whoever I'm helping how they can maintain the products as well. The other thing is to get the inserts for these stoves, you can actually get them really, really cheap. So if yours are just like horrendous, you can buy brand new ones. They'll look great. And then I just recommend at least a couple times a week taking it apart and just giving it a quick wipe down, because if you do it right away, it's not going to be that hard. But when you really let it build up, that's when it gets difficult. And then just lifting up this bottom area. If you guys have a stove like this and didn't realize, yes, you can lift up the front of it to clean underneath it, and it'll make a huge difference. So much stuff falls to the side and underneath that cleaning this all out is very, very important. It'll also help if you notice like any like smells in your kitchen, or once again, help deter bugs. If you have this clean, there's less of a reason for the bugs to come around.
Sweet and you care about my night, but I'm sobering up in this moment's past. Oh yeah, I don't wanna be tucked in someone else's arms, cause my heart just broke and I need my time. Wanna speak so loud even though I hide, like I'm hypnotized.
So one of the questions I've gotten a lot with this series is, one, how do I deal with the bugs? Now, I have not gone somewhere where I've really had to deal with bugs. And if it's minor bugs, like I said, we live in Florida. There's certain things that you're going to encounter. It's just normal for down here. So those don't bother me. But if it was like an infestation, a bad bug situation, I have to be honest, I probably would have to decline, because I don't have the skills, and I have declined people before. I had one person that I went and visited, and they obviously had a mice problem and a couple other issues, and I had to let them know that I can help, but you first have to have this dealt with before I can help, because I don't have the ability to really deal with those situations. I can do the cleanup afterwards, but I can't deal with the other stuff. The other thing that I've been asked, because in my previous Hoarders series, I did not take my vacuum because I did not want to take the chance of bringing dust and dirt from one house to the next, and I've been asked if I bring my vacuum this time around. And this time around I do, and there's a big difference in the reasons. My old vacuum at the old house, it wasn't as easy to tear apart and completely clean, to take from house to house, where this one, super easy. I can tear it apart, pretty much hose it down before going to the next house, bringing it back to my house, all of those things. So that is why I do bring mine, because one of the things that I dealt with regularly in my old series is not having a sufficient vacuum to really get a space clean. So I like being able to take mine, but also the peace of mind that I'm not bringing dust and dirt from one house to the next. Now, if you are in a situation where your kitchen is similar to this, but you own your space, or you get approval by your landlord, there are a couple reasonably cheap options to upgrade your kitchen if you want. I'm personally someone that I believe it's easier to keep a clean and organized space that I believe is beautiful. Obviously, everyone's opinion of beautiful is different. So, but in my very first kitchen, which like I said was very similar to this, I kept the old appliances. They were white. They were fine. But I replaced the hardware on my cabinets and I painted them all white. That alone made such a huge difference. I then did a cement countertop, and I didn't do like a full cement countertop. I left the existing counters and did like 2 layers of that feather cement on top and then epoxied it. It looked, at that time, it was like super trendy, so it looked super trendy and modern. And it was very, very affordable. And at that time, I didn't know anything about a lot of DIYs. I was young 20s. It was our first house. Like, I was definitely learning. And then I got just basic subway tile, and I learned how to backsplash. And those 3 things of painting cabinets with new hardware, redoing the counters, and redoing the backsplash made the biggest difference. And I'm someone that believes when you keep a place looking beautiful, it's easier to keep it clean and organized. So just a couple little, I feel, affordable tips to being able to modernize a space if you're not looking to do a full kitchen like gut redo, because that can be expensive. Even on the cheap end, that can be expensive nowadays. Oh, the other option for counters. So this kitchen was super small. So the other option they could have if they own this space is going to a granite or quartz shop and asking if they have remnants, because there is so little counter space. You definitely could probably get a remnant for very cheap. And then you're getting quartz or granite and not spending the crazy price on it all.
Talking in riddles. 5 in the morning, all we do is fighting. Thought you'd come and make it right. I need a pause from the battle, but I don't think you settled. You don't wanna get it right. I will leave it up to you. I will leave it up to you. Now I'm done and down the line. I will leave it up to you.
Oh, I also forgot can't talk, but I forgot to mention, I did declutter and organize her bottom cabinets as well. Part of the work I did this day did not get caught on camera because my camera was dying and I had to plug it in and let it charge for a good 30 minutes before I could keep recording. We did go through those cabinets. I did that off camera because I figured there were certain things I could do off camera and just let you guys know got done. My camera charged, because it was either that or you guys wouldn't get to see the before and afters at the end. And I know you guys love those before and afters. So that is one thing that they did get done. There was only like 2 cabinets to do, but you didn't get to see it on camera. And I apologize for that. Well, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, leave a comment down below. Those are all things that really help out my channel. Also, if you're new here, I would love if you would subscribe, but I will see you next time. Bye.